Hi everyone, I'm Brandon McCoy, and I am part of Roundhouse Theater's education team with today's theater challenge for 4th through 6th graders, and I'm going to be helped out by my very special friend, Sheba. Sheba and I have been friends for 13 years. It's one of the longest relationships I've ever had, and she's a really good partner. Today's challenge is all about acting and writing, two of my very favorite things. I'm going to help you to write and perform a monologue from the perspective of your pet. Or if you don't have a pet, it could be a stuffed animal or an imaginary friend. Let's see what kind of theater we can create. One of my favorite things about working in theater is that we are only ever limited by as much we are willing to use our imaginations. If you let your imagination play, virtually anything is impossible, including writing and performing a monologue from the perspective of your pet or imaginary friend. Now, writing can be very difficult, and I find that maybe the most difficult thing about writing is starting. So here are some helpful points that will help you get started in writing this monologue. So for today's Roundhouse Theater Challenge about monologue creation and then acting it, here are some helpful reminders. Give yourself structure. The first thing you should do is decide what character is going to be expressing their point of view. So if I were creating a monologue from the perspective of my pet, I'm going to use Sheba. So I decide that Sheba is the person that is going to be speaking this monologue. The next thing I'm going to do is decide to whom Sheba is speaking. And we're going to call this the other. The other is the person to whom your character is speaking. So for this example, I could use my daughter, Shyla, or my wife, Brianna, or I could choose me. Sheba is going to be expressing her point of view to one of us. I'm going to decide who that person is. Or maybe it's more than one person. Next, you're going to decide on what your character wants from the other. So if I'm writing a monologue from the perspective of Sheba, I'm going to decide what it is that Sheba wants to express and what she wants. A want, a goal, or a need is called an objective. Now, we're going to start with a prompt. Everyone's monologue should start with the line, "I've been silent for too long, you need to know that." And then anything that comes after that is the stated objective. If we start with the stated objective, we are helping our monologues to be more active. Now, after you create your monologue, see if it has everything on this checklist. Number 1, does it have a clear beginning, middle, and end? We all know that good stories have clear beginnings, middles, and ends. So let's treat this monologue like it is a story in and of itself. Does it start somewhere? Does it have a middle part? And does it have a conclusion of some kind? Next, does your character have an important point of view? A strong objective? Now, the objective is only as strong as the character's want. So make your character that you are creating and their point of view be very important to them. A monologue is an expression of a person's, or in this instance, a pet's, strong point of view. It doesn't have to be about something serious, but it needs to be something that the character wants badly. Next, does it have a character arc of some kind? Is the speaker different in some way at the end than they were in the beginning? So one of the great things about theatrical storytelling is that we see characters on a journey. They start somewhere and they end somewhere different. So by the end of your monologue, is the character that you created in a different place than they were, feel a different way than they did in the beginning? We want to make sure that there is a journey of some kind. And if we're treating our monologues as stories in and of themselves, they necessarily need to be changed by expressing themselves. After you write your monologue, it's time to put it into action. Theater is an action-oriented form of storytelling. And so I want you to keep these 4 things in mind as you're working on embodying and creating this character. The 3 tools of the actor are the body, the voice, and the imagination. So as you are working on this monologue, make sure that you are creating physical character, vocal character, and imaginative character. And all that means is that we want to think about the character specifically and create physical choices that are specific to the character, vocal choices that are specific to the character, and emotional and imaginative choices that are specific to the character. And the last thing is to be creative. Now, we're writing this monologue from the perspective of someone that doesn't ordinarily express themselves in this way. And so the more creative you can be, the better. Okay, so some final reminders. For example, I would write a monologue from the perspective of Sheba. And Sheba is going to be talking to my daughter Shyla, and Sheba wants Shyla to stop pulling on her tail because it hurts both emotionally and physically. And by the end of that speech, Sheba is going to hope that she finally convinces Shyla to express her love in a different way. And now that after I write it, I'm going to think about creating Sheba physically and vocally and imaginatively and put that into action. And when I do that, I've created my monologue. And that's what we want you to do. So, that's it. Now it's your turn. I challenge you to create a monologue from the perspective of your pet or imaginary friend. And if you like, ask your grown-up to send us a video at education@roundhousetheater.org. That is education@roundhousetheater.org. Make sure they follow Roundhouse on social media because we're going to feature some of our favorite submissions on Instagram and Facebook. It might be you. And be sure to give this video a big thumb up and subscribe to Roundhouse's YouTube channel for brand new arts challenges every week. Have fun, and we'll see you next time.